Well, I think the summary of the regatta so far after 4 days is probably the same as it was on day 1 and probably the same as it's going to be on day 6, which is it all starts tomorrow. The results for most fleets, for most sailors, have certainly been up and down, and that's no different for our team as it is for top sailors from around the world. There have been 1 or 2 sailors in separate fleets who seem to have had some fairly steady top 5 performances. But with a change in the weather forecast after Thursday, then it could easily be quite different for the last few days of the regatta. So it would appear that having lost a few races over the last 2 days, we're a little bit behind schedule now, and tomorrow's forecast is not fantastic. So there's a good chance we're going to lose some more races tomorrow. So the last 3 days of the regatta is going to be all on, and it's going to be full speed ahead right to the finish line. I think for most people, there's been a real battle in the wind. It's a sea breeze we've had and the sailing conditions so far this regatta, and that's meant it's been quite different inside and outside, and it's in terms of inside and outside of the harbour, but also different on the different courses, and it's meant that it's been quite patchy weather in terms of the wind has been patchy across the courses, and also we've been on the turn of the tide a lot of the time in that early afternoon, which has meant that the course has paid on different parts of the course at different stages in the race, and it's been very difficult for the sailors to keep track of all of that and then execute their best performance. So I think there's been a lot of learning going on from a lot of sailors, but it's been certainly a very challenging week for sailors from all nations in all classes so far. We're here for the second test event. We were very lucky with the only sport that has 2 test events. We had one last year. The thing I suppose that stands out for most people is that this year is completely different weather-wise to the weather we had last year, and that means the conditions for sailing are different, which means you need to be a great all-round sailor. If we get some strong winds towards the end of the event, which we could well do with a new weather front coming in, then you're going to have to be able to perform in wind and in waves. We had some wind and waves last year, but we've had none of that really this year through the regatta. We've had far lighter winds this year, very much a sea breeze, very warm, very hot. So you've got to be good across all the conditions, and you've got to be able to pace yourself through every race, and you've got to be able to ensure that when you go into that final race, you're in the hunt for the medals, and that you're taking that very final race just as seriously and with just as much commitment and application as you do the first race of the Olympic Games, because every single race is going to make a difference to the points at the end of this regatta. Hopefully we will see a little change in the conditions. Hopefully we'll see the race management schedule some of the races towards some of the extra races towards the end of the schedule, perhaps even push back a few of the medal races to allow some more of the fleet racing to go in, because ultimately we're very much of the belief that while you have difficult conditions, the more races that you have in a series, the more the talented sailors will come to the fore. So that will mean that we can be confident that the better sailors in the world will get there. From a British perspective, we're still in the hunt in most of the classes, and hopefully we'll see a few of the ones who are at the sort of in the bottom half of the top 10 make some progress up towards the medals by the medal race, and those that are in the top few positions consolidate those positions and get themselves ready to challenge to win gold.